Welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast live watch along for stage 5 of the Tour de France, Marie Blanc stage, and boy, is it delivering. We have a really exciting race situation with now. We'll run through what has happened in a second, but right now we have Chris Neylands ahead of the breakaway, a chase group of Van Aert and Alaphilippe about 15 seconds behind him. Another 20 seconds back is a group of the big breakaway with AG2R and Ineos relaying for their riders Martinez and Felix Gall. But the problem for GC and UAE behind is Jai Hindley has got himself in that breakaway earlier on. And so they're chasing with the peloton. Now it's for the first time in a long time ticked over under 3 minutes, the gap from Hindley to the peloton. But do you want to give a quick debrief, Benji, of what has occurred in this? This stage always delivers.
Yes, sir. Just like 3 years ago, the same stage, we had a very long breakaway formation, eventually leading to a breakaway of, I think, 36 riders, which is gigantic, let's be honest about it. And lots of interesting factors to it. You said it. Hindley's in that breakaway with 2 teammates at the start. Eventually, Conrad started working, then was done for. Now Buchmann's still in there. But a lot of shit has happened. They've gone up the Col de Soudan midway the stage. And we've seen the reactions from Jumbo and UAE. And I feel like when it comes to UAE, the reaction was we're gonna try and pace from the peloton. They also have riders in the breakaway. They had some actions there, but it really comes down to UAE pacing in the peloton with Soler waiting as well from the breakaway to the peloton. Grosschartner in the end dropping from the breakaway and also joining the peloton. So we've got an intriguing factor from UAE, but I feel like they've used a limited amount of riders, Lengen and Bjerg.
Exactly. They did have Grosschartner and Soler do some work in the breakaway, but in the end, Soler and Grosschartner have done less work than Jumbo-Visma because they're the two they have in the breakaway, which was Benoit. Laporte was dropped, but as I say, that Soler started to pace the peloton now full. So this gap is going to absolutely melt the way they're riding because Grosschartner's still there to pull. But yeah, Benoit and Van Aert have done more work than Soler. I think if I had to think about, I think it was a good situation for Jumbo-Visma if you know how UAE approached the race, which is if you believe that Vingegaard is the out-and-out true favourite, I don't think you pull all day. Now, maybe this is what UAE were going to do anyway. Martinez is now went for the KOM sprint. That might disrupt a little bit in the group behind. That was kind of, I don't know if he's trying to win the stage. Or was it worth disrupting the pacing to go for 2 points from a Cat 3? You want to win this stage?
Good question, because obviously if you start attacking them, people are going to figure out, okay, this guy maybe did it for the KOM, but if Ineos keeps on pacing now, I don't think it will really ruin it.
No. I think Jorgensen, Martinez, Felix Gall, Ciccone need to create a chase group. I think it's unlikely that they're going to get caught anyway, but Hindley, if you go with Hindley on Marie Blanc, he's the best rider. He should drop everybody on Marie Blanc. The gap is now out to about 3:15 again with that acceleration over the climb. So Alaphilippe, Van Aert have caught up with Chris Neylands, and they know that all 3 of these riders, they can't beat Ciccone, Hindley, or the other GC riders in that group, or talented climbers. Van Aert's climbing's not looked as good as before.
Yeah, but I feel like the gap they've got now at 18 seconds, 16 seconds. Jesus Christ, what is happening in Group 2? I swear this was like 30 seconds a second ago.
They sprinted at the end of the little Côte d'Icher, the little climb, the Cat 3.
The gap is basically halved, and now I'm kind of like, okay, that gap is not gigantic for these 3. And if Marie Blanc is coming up, and it's not coming up in a kilometer, but it's not that far either. I'm going to look it up at the moment, the exact distance.
I think in hindsight, Jumbo probably should have started. They could have done a better job, I think, counter-attacking the group and being aware of who
Hindley is.
Yeah, where Hindley was in the group. And also, it's not good enough to counterattack and go solo. If you leave behind Ineos, Quickstep, and AG2R. That's pointless because now Jai Hindley suddenly has a team of domestiques. So I think they could have been a little bit tried. If they'd brought Alaphilippe with them before Soudet, maybe that breakaway goes absolutely nowhere. But in the end, we have UAE. I mean, this is classic UAE. So Soler's initial pull was very hard. But now it's slowed down a little bit. I wonder how much they'll give back on the descent. But Freyler's doing a very, very good job for Martinez. UAE kind of... Isn't this the race they were going to do anyway?
I feel like they're super calm about it. They're like, I feel like they're in the same scenario as they probably would have been regardless of whether Hindley was in the breakaway.
Now they're more calm than they were, say, when they were chasing on
Yeah.
the Hyiscabel stage. But initially, what they were doing made no sense to me because they were chasing full because Hindley was in the breakaway. A group of 5 rouleurs went from a break of like 30
Yeah.
with Cavagna, Victor Campenaerts, maybe even Mads Pedersen, and also had Wout van Aert. And every time that happened, the Großschartner went in the wind full chasing with Bookman on his wheel. I'm like, if you let this group of rouleurs go, everyone else stops. You don't have to chase as hard in the group behind.
Yeah.
You can get into your rhythm with Bjerg Langen. You can control a group of 5 rouleurs because Cavagna and Co, they're not going to do the Soudet that hard. That was surprising to me, but I think it was clear that UAE, the briefing this morning was, if Jumbo cannot have more on the break, or if Jumbo are represented in that group, we must be represented in that group. And in the end, Benji, it was pointless because they just dropped Großschartner and Soler back. So what was the point?
Well, I think they wanted to be represented where Jumbo Rider was represented, and that was kind of the idea behind their actions today. And then they come into that situation, and they're like, okay, this is now a situation where we need to pull back. So I don't necessarily mind them adapting the plan along the way. I think that's a good idea, pulling Soler back. Großschartner got dropped, I feel like, more than he got actually... I feel like Soler was actually waiting. Großschartner was more towards...
waited, yeah.
Yes. A Großschartner being behind was more towards the top of. True. Probably then decided, let me draw back as well, where I'm dropping anyway.
Yeah. And it, again, Jumbo wanted to get multiple in the break, and then Christoph was pulling for a little bit, and Hindley was in the break. Should they have started re-attacking and not moved with that group? You know, maybe 10, 15 minutes they sort of rolled and let the gap go to 90 seconds a bit too much, and then it's like, oh, because this reminded me earlier in the stage a lot of Tour of Flanders where strong breakaway ahead with Van Hooijdonk represented. And so Jumbo were like, we're represented, Alpecin, you're not represented, you chase. Alpecin started chasing and it went nowhere. And then it got to the point where, holy shit, there's no bluff to call. They literally don't have the riders to bring this back. UAE, that's changed to the point where actually UAE, as you said, I think are in control now.
Yeah.
Where they have their team around them. There's going to be the lead out into Marie Blanc. They're going to do Marie Blanc full.
It's going to be 130 max at the top of Marie Blanc.
Max, yeah.
So if you're Pogacar...
And then Hindley might lose more if he's solo.
Yeah, exactly. So you're in that situation, you're looking at the stage, you're like, okay, 130 at the top of Marie Blanc seems like a scenario that initially, once the break was made, they would have been happy with. Like, obviously it's not ideal, but it could have been much worse.
Yeah, and I think, it's not like Kelderman's in there, or not that he's better than Hindley, but, I think they also know that Jumbo deep down probably don't want to give 3 minutes for free to Jai Hindley either. The gap now at 250.
Yeah, but we're now talking about Hindley. We're talking about Hindley versus Pogacar, the peloton versus the breakaway. I still believe action is going to happen in the peloton regardless of what's happening up front.
It's been too hard to stage.
I think people are going to attack each other in the peloton on Marie Blanc, and whether that's Jonas attacking Pogacar or Pogacar trying to attack Jonas, I think they both want to attack each other on Marie Blanc, which is going to make it so much more interesting. If you wonder where Patrick is going during this watch-along, he's trying to attack flies left and right so that you have a better viewing experience. Wout van Aert almost hit a traffic island, so glad he did not. But anyway, we've got roughly 10 kilometers to go, I think, before the actual steeper sections of Marie Blanc start hitting us. So that is going to be where most of the GC action is going to happen. Right now, it's kind of a waiting intensity moment, and I don't mind it. I feel like it's building up nicely. It's been a stage where I've watched the entire fucking thing.
It's been a great stage. I missed a couple of swings there. Also, they land on front of the TV, and I don't want to put a fly screen through the TV during the most exciting Tour de France stage so far. My aim was a little bit off, but I did get one. I don't know, they just hassle me too much. Do you reckon there's a point at which Hindley starts to worry that he could get, if the gap gets too close? I think, fortunately for him, Freyler and Asia Tuara are doing a really, really big job. Because, and this is what I mean. If Van Aert wanted to go, he needed Martinez and Goal with him, or an Asia Tuara, because now Bookman has a full train. UAE aren't really gaining that much time on Omar Freyler. Who do you think wins?
I think Pogacar wins the stage. I mean, between the peloton, I don't mean the stage. I mean,
okay.
I think he's he's going to not lose time to Jonas Vingegaard, is what I mean by that sentence.
I think Danny Martinez will win the stage. Freyler's
Really?
obviously pacing for a reason.
Descent finish of Muddy Blanc, and
He dropped them initially on the descent of Soudet.
proud of the change, the character development.
I don't think the descents. I can't remember how.
You don't believe in
technical it is.
Hindley?
No, but Hindley will get played out.
Okay.
Is Hindley good enough to drop them all on Marie Blanc and keep them all behind? Probably.
Yeah.
To be honest. So that's the thing. Like, are Ineos being naive here, thinking that they're just pulling Hindley to the base of Marie Blanc, and he just drops him. But I think also there will be attacks not at the start of the steep section. There'll be attacks at the start of Marie Blanc, and that's where Hindley will have to close gaps immediately.
I think Ciccone is going to be the stage winner at the end of today's stage. And I think it's because of his descending skill, because he's good on the climbs. I'm a bit more worried when it comes to Gall's descending than I am about Ciccone's descending. I feel like Gall was caught very quickly after the top of today. And when it comes to the actual stage win, Ciccone is the man I'm looking at more than anything. I want to thank Captain Sushi for asking something and why the winner is going to be Wout van Aert.
Who's winning today and why is it Wout van Aert? Thanks, Captain Sushi, for the $8 donation. Mikkel Bjerg just ran a corner very wide on that descent. UAE losing time on the descent. I think Wout van Aert has no chance to win the stage. That traffic island is very scary, but
that's the one Wout van Aert almost hit just a second ago.
So yeah, winning the stage, I think will be Martinez because I think Hindley has to drop everybody on Marie Blanc. He has to then do the plateau solo. He has to then pull the valley solo, and if anyone's with him, they're not going to pull with him because they only want the stage win. He wants the GC time. Let's say his gap now is 1:30. That's a nice gap if you're Danny Martinez. If you're Danny Martinez, okay, we're not going to get caught 1:30 from the end of Marie Blanc to the finish. So I think he'll get put under pressure to ride for his own GC. And I think riders like Ciccone and Martinez have a good sprint. You pick Ciccone, right?
I picked Ciccone. Why are you not following your man of yesterday, Matteo Jorgensen?
Oh, I think Jorgensen needed to be in this counter move with Van Aert, Neylands, and Alaphilippe. And I think Ciccone, Martinez, and what's his name? Hindley are a bit too good on the very, very steep stuff. But he surprised me in Oman, so we'll see. Right now, UAE keeping the gap pretty stable to the Hindley group, which is also only 22 seconds behind the Neylands, Alaphilippe, Van Aert group. I dare say now in this flat run-in rather than the descent we just had, UAE will eat into this even more. And I think they'll start Marie Blanc with
2.5?
250, 245. But then I think the first 3-4 Ks of Marie Blanc, the breakaway will lose a lot because UAE will put a rider like Grosjean at the pace, full, and he's relatively fresh.
Yeah.
And Freyler will be done and there'll be attacks. And so I think the gap will come down a lot before even the steep section on Marie Blanc. But still a good situation for Hindley. He's haven't been able to surf because Bookman's not able to pull or if he's not there anymore.
I feel like Bookman's been a bit of a mystery to me throughout the stage itself because there were moments where he was working for Hindley, so credits for that. But there were other moments where I was like, this is kind of moment where you need to help, as in some moments where the pace completely dies. Even if you're not good on the flat, it's useful to be pacing to make sure the cooperation in the group stays. Yeah. And also, there was a split with Hindley behind and Bookman in the front group. And Bookman didn't draw back or anything. Hindley had to close the gap himself to the front, which was really odd.
And that was another sort of situation where I think Van Aert, it's very small, but it's like that group of 5 went, good representation. There was a Trek, there was an AG2R, and there was maybe a Alaphilippe, I think. There was definitely Jorgensen and I think Haig. And there was no Ineos. I think Martinez goes to sprint across.
Yeah.
Hindley's behind Van Aert in the group.
Yeah.
And Van Aert follows Martinez. And I was like, if you let Martinez just get across to that gap, then, you know, you have a better situation and then the Hindley problem's kind of neutralized a little bit. So, do you think Van Aert's up the road? Why is he up the road?
I think,
to win, I think.
I think to win as well, because he needs to be ahead of this group, ahead of better climbers, to be able to do anything on this stage. But I feel like a 22-second gap is just not good enough.
No.
He won't make it with that. He needs like a minute ahead to be able to win this stage.
Yeah, I think so. Freyler, I mean, maybe because he's got to not get dropped on Marie Blanc, right?
Not get dropped, or if he gets dropped,
but
he needs to be in a situation where they can try and catch Ciccone on the flat section behind in a group of 4 or 5 working together. So, well, I'm already on the Ciccone winning page, right? You see?
Exactly. And AG2R are just killing, and Freyler killing him. So, It's really finely balanced. I don't really, Peloton, I don't see closing the gap
No.
fully.
Unless something crazy happens.
Hindley will go into yellow today,
Yeah.
most likely. I don't know where he is behind Yates on GC, like 25 seconds or something.
Let me get it to you. We've got the closest man is indeed Hindley. I think it's on. Actually, Van Aert is on 16 seconds.
Yeah, but Hindley will
But
drop.
obviously, he's going to get dropped.
Hindley's on 22 seconds.
43 for Ciccone and Buchmann.
Yeah.
Ciccone, well, I don't necessarily see him drop Hindley on the climbing section.
But he could counterattack him in the valley if he wants yellow and the stage, if he's thinking about being cheeky. And also, Hindley's got a good sprint too. There's no guarantee you beat him in a sprint.
But
that's why you got to make him pace.
What did you make of today where Gall and Ciccone were dropping Hindley? I think that was just Hindley realizing.
He was conserving.
Yeah. He doesn't want to overextend because if the peloton catches up, he doesn't want to be caught with his...
He can't, as a GC rider trying to ride the full stage and take maximum time, he can't be getting into the KOM sprint BS on the top of today. And so I think he was conserving that. I think Marie Blanc is where he opens the taps up and really goes for it. And I think now the gap is big enough for him that he doesn't need to worry about, oh, should I conserve a little bit in case I get caught? I don't want to get dropped. He's got a healthy enough gap. He can just fully open the taps because Van Aert's made it across to Marie Blanc. Now, fake news climb, 7.7 Ks, 8.6%. But the first 3 or 4 Ks, as I said, draft is really important. So I'm interested to see now, where does Frailer or AG2R go here in comparison to UAE? Because now it's a lot harder, and already that gap, Benji, what do we say it would be? 245? It's getting near there.
It's getting near there. I thought it was going to be more like 230 personally.
It's 240. So...
Is this the real bottom, though? Let's be honest about it. We're talking about silly gradients right now.
Yeah, but now UAE will gain much more time here because they will put someone to pace, I think.
I meant 230 by the time we hit like the steeper sections.
No, it'll be shorter than that.
Shorter than that?
Yeah, it's already nearly 230.
Yeah, that's true.
And unless Hindley goes full beans here, but look, like now Frailer, and they will lose a lot. I don't know who's pacing for UAE, though. Juanpe's still there for Ciccone.
Yep.
Does Chris Hamilton come off the top rope and dunk? Should Chris Hamilton, should he pull for his Australian? Is he West Australian? Should he pull for Hindley?
Is there a difference between West and Eastern Australian in terms of like the fights against each other or what?
Not really. New South Wales and Queensland's a bigger thing, the state of origin. So UAE, they're on still the false side. Jumbo are starting to lead out. Bjerg is pulled off. Langen, I think, is gone. Jumbo they've had Van Baarle, Kelderman, and Co in the wheels. It's time for them, I think, to do a big lead out into the base and erase. I think Jumbo should take some time back. Why else? What else is the point of Van Hooijdonk? He's not done anything today.
Yeah, but I've got a feeling that Jumbo's now on the page. They've been on the entire page the entire day of let UAE do the work. And if they now fold, it also sends a message that they will fold at a certain point in future stage as well.
Yeah, but you can say, oh, I'm doing the positioning lead out into Marie Blanc. Which is kind of
they will eventually. They will eventually do that.
About a minute away.
Or will they let UAE pace the majority of Marie Blanc and then take over?
I'm officially in the Hindley warrior camp, so I'm worried about Hindley.
Mate, third favorite for the tour.
Exactly. The gap is now 240.
Behind who? Pogacar and Vingen, not Adam Yates.
Pogacar will for sure drop Adam Yates to attack Yates. Maybe not drop, but he'll attack him. Simon Yates, this should be good today as well. Were you surprised that the other podium candidate teams didn't care about Hindley?
I like it.
Like FDJ, AG2R, Ineos, for example.
I like seeing it. I think it's all
Trek.
I think it's all as a consequence. Well, first of all, when it comes to Trek, they're in the breaker with 2 riders.
No, not even worried about him. Actively helping him.
They're actively helping. And also, Skelmos is not necessarily the podium candidate in my eyes yet. I feel like he's more the top 10, potentially top 5 candidate. What, sorry?
Did Hindley just flat?
What do you mean flap?
Flat.
Oh, flat, like tire.
Yeah.
I saw
it. Was there an Astana in the break before? If there was no Astana, then there was looked like a...
Tejada in break?
Tejada. I did call Tejada. It might have been Tejada just dropping. So sorry if
but
I saw someone in a bluey jersey going out the back. I doubt it would be Hindley, but...
I feel like a lot of those teams, those second row teams that were looking at their candidates as top 3 candidates, I think they saw UAE directly starting to pace, and they're probably like, these guys are going to pace all day, so why would we panic instead?
I think so. I think UAE took it up, and, they didn't let it go out of control. Maybe a minute long. It got to a point where it was a minute longer than would have been probably what you wanted. Sorry for the bump steer, everybody. I think that was somebody else. But yeah, Van Aert being ahead hasn't really. Didn't Van Aert being ahead here just create exactly the same situation as before Col de Soudet? Where he gets ahead,
and
he doesn't have the representation of the other stage hunters in the break,
he
so
also
they
didn't get the
push the
gap.
group with Hindley harder.
Yeah, and he also didn't get the gap necessary to stay ahead because of that issue that you brought up.
It's just another replication of before Soudet, and it makes... Because do Ineos and AG2R, they don't care if the gap to the peloton's 250 or 150. 150 they probably think is enough.
Because like as their teammate and Juanpe, I think it's Berthet and Juanpe.
Yeah,
they've both dropped earlier and they came back, and maybe they weren't able to get into that move yet.
Yeah,
like in the way that Wout van Aert and Sefov is doing.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're thinking we don't need to do that because we can control it from the group behind and do it that way. And that's hitting Wout van Aert's plan, but it's part of the race. Huh?
Yeah, I think they've basically replicated what happened before Soudet, and it might, Hindley got the AG2R and Ineos guys to help him, but the gap is down to 245 now, holding pretty stable. I'm not sure who, it's Soler still pacing for UAE, but he's pretty tired, so I wouldn't be surprised if it kicks off it's going to kick off in a very, very big way in the peloton shortly, but Freyler's done a magnificent job.
Wout is over.
Yeah, but he needs to keep riding.
As in... to stay ahead,
as a satellite rider. Jonas has a puncture or something.
Still has Benoit there for the same reason, because Benoit ain't winning the stage either.
No.
So either could be used as satellite rider on top of Marie Blanc. Does that say anything about what Jumbo is planning to do?
Oh, I think definitely.
Because at this point, what is the point of Benoit being there?
But definitely Benoit can't win the stage for sure. So, but definitely on stage 2, you don't want a replication of the scenario of, what was it, of Yates and Pogačar attacking an isolated Vingegaard, because what if Yates accelerates, doesn't drop himself, but he drops Kelderman and Koos, and now you got a problem if they try to roll Vingegaard again. AG2R doing a magnificent job for Felix Gall, but
doesn't matter. Eh?
Yeah, this is a full train now for...
I think we're going to see Bookman work for Hindley more on the climb now. We didn't see him doing that too much on Soudet, but it was all the other teams that did it for them.
Yeah, I think Trek paced with Juanpe kept the gap to Van Aert very stable. So Van Aert's put in a lot of energy in this stage and not really got much reward. And I don't think Van Aert's going to stay in front of he'll get caught by the peloton.
I think so as well.
It's too steep. Maybe
he's dropping too early.
Yeah, is that Benoit dropping too? So I don't even know if Vingegaard will have riders ahead of him.
But Nort might still be in between though, because he's only like in the second group there. So wouldn't be. It's better to at the start of the climb probably for Benoit to
do your own pace, because you're not winning the stage, so you don't need to follow Martinez or Ciccone. You need to try and beat the peloton by 2:30 over the top of this. But AG2R are doing a fine job, and Hindley's getting a magnificent lead out. They're not really losing any time to UAE at all.
Perfection for them. Mado was dropping.
Mado in the break was a strange one.
I didn't mind it. I like it.
Yeah, but he didn't try and go into counter moves.
Exactly.
Like he if you're not Martinez, Hindley, or Gall or Ciccone, you don't really have a chance against this quality of guys.
Really nice work by Berthet here.
Yeah, he's an underrated rider. He's very good. I think he was a mountain biker or something, and he's on his Neo Pro contract.
Bookman is suffering in the middle of Gall. Yes, he's done for.
Bookman,
Hindley's now following Gall. Ciccone needs to close that gap as well.
Berthet is cooking. I think Gall might drop everybody.
It's not impossible, but
man, Bookman just put Hindley in such a bad spot there.
Yeah,
he should flick Martinez now. It's funny that he flicked his own leader, and now he's like he should just pull out. It's a hard pace. Berthet's finished.
There he is.
Gall's gone,
and Gall's attacking with Hindley in the wheel. Ciccone wasn't in the bad position for that, but also can he still close it now? Because Gall ain't gonna stop, and Hindley probably neither. So gonna keep on pacing to the top.
Gall will ride full to the top.
And Hindley as well, eh?
Yeah. Oh, is Gall a bad descender?
He was pretty bad on Soudet.
Yeah, right. Apparently the gap to the peloton's 2:30. And remember, Pogačar and Vingegaard are probably going to go ham. So Hindley's probably going to win this stage if he has to drop him. But then does he want a teammate to help him in a rider to help him in the valley? I don't know.
The people dropping from the front group.
AG2R. French team's having a good first week so far. If AG2R can snag a dub here, that would be huge for them.
Kupama hasn't been seen much, but they're also still in contention when it comes to GC. So have seen no pure weakness by Godu there yet.
Imagine Hindley beats Guru on GC by a little bit. I think
Well,
I think they accept that Hindley's better than him, so
I think Hindley's better than Godu on paper, yeah.
Goal should not relay with Hindley. He won't drop him. He's not riding for GC, but the group behind's not far with Ciccone and whoever's in the white jerseys.
I don't know, but Gal also knows that he might not be the best descender. So if he doesn't have a nice gap on the others behind, he also needs to take care of Hindley.
Yeah. Man, Bookman.
Bookman out following Ciccone in the chase.
Hindley might have him for the valley even.
I don't know. Oh, peloton action.
Mike is coming to the front now. So now on the steep sections, the UAE haven't really paced that hard. They haven't, but I think Gall and Hindley were going really, really hard. I don't know if it's 3.5 Ks to go for the GC group or for the breakaway. Breakaway, I think. Grossschartner doing a lead out, but I wonder how hard it will be. Whether UAE are just going to try control.
I haven't seen Grossschartner, so maybe he just actually blew up.
Oh, he's on the front now for UAE. But where he was before, I don't know. So they're only 140 behind Benoit and Alaphilippe, I think, here. So will the peloton catch Benoit before the top? I think they will. So it's not really worked out at all for Jumbo. They've basically gotten a break, got two satellite riders. Hindley's got in there, and Hindley's still got a gap of 230, and that's not going down at all. We'll see.
Hopefully we see some action from the peloton on the breakaway soon, because now we're just seeing riders dropping at the moment.
When Yates launches, the gap will melt.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the gap will melt there. And also they're coming back to Gall and Hindley, Martinez and is that Haig or Bookman? It's Haig because it's blue socks.
At the front, you've got the two boys that attack. Then we've got Ciccone and Bookman trying to close down that gap, but that's still a pre-series gap. Then you've got Martinez and Haig?
Haig, yeah.
Yeah, Jack Haig.
I wonder if Hindley's a good descender, and Bookman won't help Ciccone.
Ciccone's a good descender, though.
Yeah, but
Ciccone looking at Bookman trying to take over, like, come on, dude, help. Obviously won't.
The peloton's losing time to Hindley. Grossschartner's pulling slowly. Man, Hindley's going to take a big lead on GC today. He's going to take like a 2-minute lead.
If they 132 minutes.
If they don't get serious. Yeah. I can't believe Jumbo aren't.
Are you surprised that Jumbo hasn't, like, because now it's Micah pulling, eh? It's Micah, Pogacar.
Micah's not going anywhere. This is slow.
And Yates, that's it. That's all they have. So
Pogacar's talking on the radio. If Yates doesn't pull in the next 30 seconds, you have to put Kelderman up and pace with Kuss.
240 is the gap now.
The group is huge. They've just lost 10 seconds to Hindley and co. Man. I think Vingegaard beat Hindley by 3:16 in the Dauphiné, but that's a different race. That doesn't mean you're going to beat him by 9 minutes in the Tour. Of course, how long is the false flat?
False flat at the end? Or roughly 7 kilometers, I would say. 8 kilometers. The gap is exceeding, though. It's expanding Hindley and Gall over their chasers. But they're going to be joined by those other two, by Haig and Martinez. Behind.
Yeah, but it's going to be a proper gap. Exactly. Gall is gone. Pretty sure he's about to blow. Unless he relays. And I saw him on the radio, but he's going to take a pull. He had a big pain face on.
Oscar-worthy performance, my friend. I think they're good for a bit.
What a revelation he is.
We probably will be stuck in this scenario with the breakaway for quite a bit. The peloton's where the next action will come from.
I don't trust that peloton gap, because how is it only 120 to Van Aert? They would be less to him. But it doesn't surprise me that Hindley and Gall would be going quicker than Micah either.
It is good for Jumbo, though, that Van Aert and Benoit can stay ahead of the peloton as much as possible. And if Micah is not going that fast, if Yates is not going that fast,
I don't trust
because Yates not taking over yet.
I think they're going to catch them anyway, catch Benoit and Van Aert. So in the end,
not sure about Benoit. I think Benoit might stay ahead.
Yeah, but what's the point? Because then the peloton's gone so slow that
you can't attack.
That there's no attack from Vingegaard, or there's no there's no point. There's no way Benoit can really make a difference or help, except being there in the group for the descent. But it'll be a large group.
Do you believe UAE is at the point where they're like, oh, we're just trying to give the jersey away to Hindley? It's too dangerous, right? With 2 minutes, they can't be on that page, right?
Yeah, the gap is a little bit bigger than.
If it's like half a minute,
Yeah,
would have been like, okay, that's fine. It's not the end of the
he's
world.
riding a masterclass with goal. I did pick Hindley for the podium, but I think Yates is not going to be on the podium. I want to see a virtual GC gap. So he's 2 minutes ahead of Yates on GC now. They're losing a bit of time now. Now it's 2:20. It seems like the motorbike is moving.
Yeah.
Jumbo have blinked.
Yeah. Jumbo spacing. Wout van Aert is being caught at the moment, so that gap was indeed wrong. We've got Seppi pacing in front of Jonas. Then we've got Pogacar and we've got Yates. Wout van Aert now taking over a satellite rider. Benoit still ahead, so
Tejada.
I feel like an attack is coming, man.
Jumbo pacing full. The group is down to 10 riders. We have 2 Ineos. It looks like Pidcock, Gaudu, Rodriguez, Mike Wood, Simon Yates, Adam Yates, Tadej Pogacar. Sepp Kuss is looking back. Bernal is dropped. He's got a rider pacing in front of him. Jonathan Castillejo. Landa is dropped. Bilbao is pacing Landa. Menkes is dropped too. Frailer is looking back.
Sciano's in trouble, but he crashed earlier.
Yeah, I don't think the crash was a big problem. But yeah, so the gap has gone down now. But can Kuss keep it going? Kelderman dropped straight away. Bernard doing a huge pull now. And Benoit's further up the road too. And if Jumbo actually want to make a difference on this climb, you need to make it steady and hard for a long time because...
Yeah, and it's still 1.9 kilometers, so there is space here for Vingegaard to try and drop Yates and Pogacar.
Well, they're at 2.5.
And there's no other reason, you're right, they're at 2.5 because they're 2 minutes 20 behind the breakaway, but there's no reason for them to do this outside of trying to attack right now.
Yeah. I mean, if you're worried about Sepp has increased the pace again, Pidcock's dropping. If you're worried about Hindley's gap...
Wrong by Pidcock.
And you weren't wanting to attack, you put Van Baarle in the valley and you pace.
Yates on a small gap?
Yates is getting gapped. Yates is being dropped now. Rodriguez is closing it easily. Carlos Rodriguez, what a performance. He's closing the steep climbs. He looked very skinny. Do you think Pogacar and Vingegaard will work together to chase Hindley? I think they should.
Well, I think Vingegaard will first try to drop Pogacar, is how I see it at the moment.
But
Once Sepp comes over. Hindley dropping Gal.
Hindley dropping Gal now with 1.7. Wow, this climb takes longer than you think, doesn't it? It looks like a 4K, 10%.
There's also no reason for Vingegaard not to pace with Pogacar after the top here because they're both benefiting from that situation.
Yeah. I think he will pace with him if he's with him. Will Pogacar pace with him with Yates behind? Benoit's now only 45 seconds ahead of that group.
He was willing to pace 3 days ago.
But but the stage win was on offer.
Yeah.
They're not winning the stage, right?
True.
I mean, Hindley's only lost. Yates is dropped now. It's just Rodriguez, Pogacar, Gaudu dropping. Yeah, but how long can Kuss keep it going?
Is that Simon the fourth one?
Simon Yates is... Well, I thought Simon Yates would be better on this climb. Adam Yates could lose a lot of time here if he doesn't stick with these guys.
Inherently weird to look at a UAE rider in the yellow jersey and it not being Pogacar.
I know. It freaks me out. No, because I look to see the yellow jersey sliding and you're like, but it's actually, Poggies.
Gap is now 2 minutes. I swear it's going to be 1:30 at the top.
And then Hindley will lose a lot in the valley if there's collaboration between Pogacar and co. Rodriguez is dropping.
Yeah, so it's 3-man job right now. Sepp Kuss is back. We've got Vingegaard in the wheel, Pogacar in that wheel.
And they're at about 2Ks to go.
It's a matter of time before Vingegaard attacks.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of time.
Man, Kuss is melting this gap.
150? Jesus Christ.
Kuss is doing the big lead out now. Pogacar looks pretty comfortable. He looked around. He's looking pretty comfortable, I think, but the look around...
Do you reckon he can follow when Vingegaard attacks?
Yes, initially, yes. This is a good climb for Pogacar. He was very, very good on it in 2020. I think his 20-minute climbing is still very good, regardless of what happens. So,
I'd be worried for the competitiveness of the Tour if he can't follow.
Yeah, I think oh, geez, get that flag away. I think he'll be able to follow initially. It's whether Vingegaard forces the issue. Does he really ride full to the top? The gap is melting to Hindley now. Hindley also takes 8 bonus seconds, and he would take 10 at the line, so he'd still take a good haul.
And Benoit is still in between, eh?
They're about to catch Benoit. He's with Alaphilippe, I believe. So will Benoit do the last death pull? Will Kuss drag Jonas across to him? maybe Jumbo have just been not even caring about Hindley and they're thinking about dropping Pogacar today. But how without satellite riders can you keep him behind in the valley or afterwards? I mean,
unless you can join a breakaway group that's like got people that are either Danish or friends with Vingegaard.
Unless he gets in with like Felix Gall and Ciccone or Haig and Martinez and they work with him. Maybe they will, you know. Pogacar's still there.
Yes.
They've probably got 1.5K's Kuss is talking to him. They're wondering where Benoit is.
You got to give it to Kuss, to be honest. Rode the Giro, now back at it. There when he needs to be there, because he wasn't there on the Ijskabel, but it's also not the spot where he needs to be there. Right? This is where he needs to be
There's also a benefit to Jumbo putting 30 seconds into Adam Yates today, just to remove his GC gap initially for future stages. So maybe Hindley's basically pacing at the same pace as Kuss now after Kuss's initial acceleration. He is really gapped Ciccone.
Losing time, eh?
What a stage.
Seeing a helicopter angle, so I'm reckoning it's still within view, but
no,
it's a solid gap.
That's to Gall, and then Gall is to Hindley is another probably 20 seconds. Oh,
fantastic move by Bora at the start of the stage.
It's 20 seconds.
Oh,
Vingegaard attacks.
Pogacar
not initially responding. Benoit there. Oh, Benoit, he gave him the fist. Oh, there's cars in the way.
Pogacar is not able to follow at the moment.
Not able to follow, but this is the initial burst. Also, it's a long thing. It's a long descent and plateau. Pogacar's stronger on the flatter sections. Kuss trying to come back to Pogacar. Vingegaard's gapped him. He's going past Bert. That's actually a big gap opening up now.
Vingegaard is going to take time at this point, unless Pogacar finds a second soul there.
Is that Kuss or Benoit?
That is Benoit in the wheel of Pogacar. That one won't last long, of course. Gap is pretty damn solid. Let's see if it expands.
Poggy holds, trying to ride full, and then remember, we'll see. Maybe he's doing maybe
he's riding more clever.
Remember when we did the watch along for with Remco and Fossombrone? And I said, because I shouldn't be a live commentator, I said Remco's fine. He's riding to his power meter because the gap he held it at 2 seconds for 5 minutes, and then bang, the last little bit it snapped open. So did Vingegaard? Should Benji now in hindsight? Should Jumbo have paced the valley so Vingegaard has some bonies to go for?
Well, that's something that you go...
But then you won't have your satellite riders ahead.
Yeah, you got to take the victories you get as well. Yeah. If you drop Pogacar here, that's a win for you, for the Jumbo-Visma team.
And this is not a long climb. And this hasn't been a high mountain brutal. This is not like Col de Grenon. Wow.
The gap is expanding from what I can tell.
I think so, yeah. If the heli would zoom out a little bit. Pogacar looks visibly slow now compared to his initial. That's a big gap.
Yeah, that's a big gap.
That's a big, big gap.
I wonder what will happen in the valley.
Well, Vingegaard needs to find somebody. But we all need to find somebody.
Yeah, but Vingegaard and Pogacar, they're both not terrible on the flat.
No, we saw in Criterium de Dauphiné, the stage he won when Carapaz launched. Yeah. Vingegaard's super aero, and also if you fucked, you fucked.
Yeah, but this is a bad sign for Pogacar to win the Tour.
Yeah, even if Jonas doesn't take any time, like on Von 2 in 2021, this wasn't a brutal Grenon stage. Yeah. This wasn't a 1 hour climb back to back.
Yeah.
And Jonas has gapped him. If he gets across to Haig and Martinez and they work with him, maybe even Haig wants to get himself back in GC because Haig is moving up. He's only on 4 minutes. I don't know. Jack, my boy, come on, ride for Jonas. No. Jonas will go past these guys like they're standing still.
Should Martinez at some point wait for Rodriguez? I don't know where Rodriguez is at the moment. Is he between groups?
But Rodriguez might have fucked himself. He might have. There might have been guys like...
Landa was already dropped and so forth, so it can still help.
But there might have been guys who were not responding to the crazy 7 watts per kilo surge, and actually Rodriguez fully... So Hindley goes over the top. I'll say he'll go over the top with a minute gap based on how much time Vingegaard is taking on him. Whether he keeps that in the valley, I'm not sure. But yeah, Vingegaard, I want to see... Well, Luke, can you please count the gap at the top from Jonas to Poggi if the TV shows us? But... The thing is, Bookman will not pull with Vingegaard. Can Vingegaard get past Martinez? Wow, Vingegaard going like a truck.
Trying to get past Haig, flying past Haig.
Sorry, I just smashed the microphone. So that's Felix Gall. Maybe, ooh, Shimano. There's a flag stuck in the car. So I think Vingegaard he might struggle to get past these guys, but I think Vingegaard will be with Ciccone in the valley.
Buchmann obviously won't help him.
No,
But Ciccone will be intrigued.
40 seconds.
40 seconds between Jonas and Tadej. That's a major gap.
Yeah, wow. So you think it's incorrect because they're moving motors? Yeah, but Poggy, you know what happens? He tries to hold it, and Hindley's not going slow, man, and Jonas just put a minute into him. So did Ciccone pass just ahead of him, or did Ciccone just ahead?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Vingegaard has to get to Ciccone. Kuss has come back to Pogacar to demoralize him. I don't think it's 50 seconds.
Can come back to Pogacar. Sorry, but that also shows that Pogacar is not going at a speed as Vingegaard at all, eh?
Apparently the gap's gone down to 22 seconds now, so maybe Pogacar got a second win. Probably that gap was wrong initially. The motors are wrong. How has Vingegaard lost another 20 seconds to Hindley?
It's really confusing. These time gaps are Giro time gaps.
Okay, so hand timed, the gap at the top from our producer Luke is 36 seconds.
That's a lot of...
But now this is a really hard section. You have to keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Yates can come back to Poggy.
It's close, eh?
So Hindley will take yellow.
Yeah.
Because he's basically I think he's on the same time as Vingegaard.
Yeah.
The gap, I would guess, to Hindley is less than a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jumbo really, really wanted Benoit over the top.
Yeah.
And that would have made a big difference in this section here.
Yeah, that would have made a big difference, but I think they're going to be very happy with what's happened today.
Well, we saw, because I think Yates should pull.
Ooh, Jesus.
Don't you think Yates should pull? Poggy needs help.
Yeah, Poggy needs help, but to win the Tour, yes.
Yes, to win the Tour, Yates should pull to get
100%.
back to his team leader.
100%.
Yeah. Even though in theory you shouldn't, but I think he should pull. But now we will see. I don't trust the time gaps too much. The Pogacar to Vingegaard one seems correct based on Luke's hand timing. But now we see we have, this is a false summit, and it's quite difficult actually. This is where she had to spend a lot of energy in 2021, but he got time back. And the proper descent only starts in about 5 kilometers. So we will see how fucked Poggy is, whether he can take time back here or what. And even in the valley, maybe that group comes back to him. So it's going to be really key to see what groups form. Maybe Ciccone goes full with Jonas now in the descent, and he gets the benefit of that. I don't know. But
when it comes to Jonas and Pogacar, if you rate them when it comes to the flat strength and so forth, I would say they're probably pretty on par in a
situation like this.
Yeah, because Vingegaard already dropped Pogacar on the climb, so he put him in difficulty.
Exactly.
So that gives Vingegaard a bit more of an advantage of still has energy, you know?
So yes, Pogacar has more watts, absolute watts, because he is 8 kilos heavier than Jonas. But, if you're fucked, you're fucked, as I said before. And Ciccone will pull with Jonas for the stage. Yeah, you reckon?
I think so.
Why wouldn't he? Otherwise, why would he have been pacing on the climb? Gull is descending really, really badly. On the hoods, he's losing some. They will catch Gull as well.
UAE's been facing this entire stage, for example.
Jumbo played them.
Yeah. In hindsight, Jumbo has played them completely because they've been able to counter after UAE burned himself, which was the initial expectations of what was happening.
If UAE hadn't kept the gap that close, Benoit gets over the top. And now you have a bigger problem. So,
but if Hindley is not in the breakaway in the first place...
I think UAE chase anyway, don't you think?
I don't know. Would have been easier to catch them.
I think UAE don't chase... I think they said in the press before this stage, if the break gets out of control, 25 guys, they will accept giving away yellow. And you're maybe right that they would have... If Hindley was not there, they say, fuck it. We live to fight another day. Wanted to go for the stage with Tadej, but we couldn't. If it was a break of 5, for sure UAE pace all day. But let us know in the chat. Let us know down below. What do you think is happening?
People are saying the Tour is over, mate, in the chat.
Oh, is that what they're saying? I mean, I told them they mustn't have listened to my preview. I remember what I said in the preview.
Mate, you said Yates would podium.
Well, you see now.
We're selective on what you're right on.
Hindley podium's looking not bad.
Yeah, for sure. He was looking good in the preparation. So for me, he was the strongest candidate for the podium next to Pogacar and Vingegaard. But this adds an extra level to it. Is there a world that Hindley can end this Tour de France before Pogacar? I don't necessarily think it's impossible.
No, I wasn't joking when I put Hindley ahead of Pogacar. Because if Poggy's, as I said many times, I believe Poggy crashed in Liège-Bastogne-Liège. I believe it happened, and I believe that it was a serious injury that required an adjustment to his training that was not optimal.
Mhm.
And so it's also, Pogacar on the long climbs and Hindley on the... It was really Hindley in the Dauphiné. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Better
That's the best we've ever seen him in a prep race.
Yeah, 100%.
Schelmoser coming back with Yates. I think Schelmoser was dropped by these guys.
Yeah.
No, and he's come back on the descent.
He's such a fucking good descender.
Good
isn't he?
descender.
So the Tour de Suisse, we see it here again.
Carlos is a good descender too. So
Schelmoser actively catching Ciccone with other podium candidates. So
Jayco, all these guys need to pull. Hindley's ahead. There's 3 guys ahead of them on GC.
Yeah.
They all have to pull through.
Frodo needs to pull.
I
Sam
think
Yates needs to pull.
Adam Yates needs to pull to get to Poggy. Poggy is bleeding time.
Yeah.
If we can believe these gaps. Vingegaard Group's not gaining that much on Hindley, but we'll see in the last 7Ks, I think the Ciccone plus Vingegaard will take another 15, 20 at least.
Yeah, but we're also looking at potential bonus seconds added to that for Vingegaard as well,
True,
because Gull's going to be caught if he keeps descending like he is descending.
Yeah, Gull will be caught on the descent and maybe even dropped.
Ciccone is probably going to beat Vingegaard in the sprint.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
I say
for sure.
4 seconds for Vingegaard.
No, Ciccone will stop once the stage actually... Vingegaard needs to keep Ciccone believing in the stage.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like... Graham Henderson, thanks for the 5. Really appreciate it. Get Toby in the shot, Luke. Give the real star his moment. All right, here we go. Here's Toby. What do you have to say about the stage, Toby? Is the Tour de France over?
Yes, it's over.
He says he's not sure just yet. Maybe Jai Hindley is actually going to beat Vingegaard. You are very biased as an Australian, aren't you, Toby? I keep the flies away from you. Let us know in the chat. Thanks for all the donations. We really, really appreciate it. Not just in the live chat, but also in the, when you gave that shout out in the preview, all the donations. We really appreciate it. We all love being here together, watching the race and doing the watch-alongs. And yeah, what a crazy Tour de France we've already had. I'm hoping it's not going to be like 21, where you get spoilt in week 1 and then, bit mid the last 2 weeks. But
I won't lie. This to me feels a lot like how Pogacar decided the Tour de France in week 1 of 2021.
Yeah,
I don't see how Pogacar can at any point in this tour drop Vingegaard on a mountain if he loses a minute on Muddy Blanc.
Well, now Jumbo they know they can just kill him on Tourmalet tomorrow.
They can kill him on every climb they want at this point.
Yeah. So, Hindley's almost as much of a threat. Cheers, Brant Labour, for the US 10. Really, really appreciate the support. How many live have we got watching, Luke? I don't read any of the chat. Benji and Luke read the chat. I'm just doing it purely off feels, watching the race. 1,722. Wow, that's good. Well, we don't actually know the gaps of Pogacar right now because they keep showing... Oh, it's a minute. Cheers, Sarah, for the US 10. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks, Sarah Kotke, for the donation. I'm now getting messages galore. Thanks, Tommy Fadul, for the 5. Appreciate that as well, Tommy. So Pogacar's at 1 minute. I think Pogacar's going to lose more time in the flat, no? Because, that cattle grid. Kuss is handling so
Madouas
good.
won't ride with him. Kuss won't ride with him, so he has to do it all alone.
Madouas should drop back for Gaudu, no?
Yeah, Madouas should
What is he doing?
So true.
Arnaud Demar would drop back.
Arnaud Demar would be there. He would be there.
Arnaud Demar for sure would be there. In fact, I think Arnaud Demar would have been with Hindley right now.
I think he would win the sprint against Hindley at the end.
This has actually been a master. From Bora Hansgrohe, they're going to win the stage and take time on GC on everybody, not just, okay, will Hindley beat Jonas in GC? Probably not. But he's taking Hindley's 2 minutes ahead of Pogacar. Will Pogacar take 2 minutes just like that on Jai Hindley? I'm not so sure.
Not so sure either.
I'm not so sure. I have to... cheers, man, from Montreal for the 10. Go, Jonas, go. It's all kicking off. Thanks. Oh, two from man from Montreal. Thanks, JHN951 for the 3. Thanks, Kanzi Ye, for the 5. This is crazy. Goal is about to be caught by the group of Vingegaard. We will see whether Vingegaard and Ciccone or whether Ciccone will relay with him. It feels to me, I really still think Adam Yates should be pulling.
Yeah,
he is only 10 seconds behind Pogacar. Thanks, Jeb, for the 20. Cheers to LRCP. Man, this has been...
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you. Gol is getting a nice moto draft. So when Vingegaard gets back across to them, he will get the Gol camera motorbike. That could be another 5, 10 seconds. Wow.
One thing is certain. I feel at this point, Hindley is semi-certain for the stage. 1 minute and 8 kilometers.
Oh, no. He's winning the stage 100%.
Yeah. And then in this group, they've got a benefit over Pogacar when it comes to the chasing as well.
Yeah. Hindley will win the stage by maybe 35 seconds. Because the thing is, if the gap is still 30 seconds at 2Ks, Ciccone doesn't pull anymore. Because unless Ciccone, where's he on GC? 43?
He's on 43 seconds.
I always thought after the Dauphiné, I think I picked him for something. I picked him for some stages.
Okay, when
no, yeah. Not for GC. I never picked him for GC, but his form in that stage 8 performance from Ciccone in the Dauphiné was incredibly impressive. He's now going to take, let's say, on the landers of this world, it could be 3 minutes for free,
probably,
and
because these keep going,
and he's not going to be allowed on the break tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you may as well at that point you're kind of forced to ride for GC unless you deliberately lose time.
Bigger gaps than you expected, huh? For Paul Laurent, 1 minute between Vingegaard and Pogacar, and I feel like it's going to stay that or expand by the finish line. Yeah, it's been a minute for a while now.
I thought Jonas could drop Pogacar on Côte de Piquet, actually. But they had no satellite rider, so it was impossible. So Gol is now caught in the flat. So now Jonas gets the TV motorbike. He probably would have preferred it on the descent. And he'll want Ciccone to roll through. He says, Gol, get in the fucking... This stage, they got to do this stage every year.
Yeah.
This stage, remember, she got caught, and then they put him in the track. Oh, it's beautiful. You can use satellite riders. There's, flat at the start, a chaotic start. The break can win. The break might not win. It's a beautiful, beautiful stage. Thanks, Dan Buchman. maybe in relation to Emmanuel. I mean, your boy Emmanuel's doing well. Keep up the great work. Thanks for that. This is crazy. Vingegaard now 103, 104, according to the moto ahead of Pogacar. He's got the TV moto ahead. We will now see in the next 20 seconds. I don't know if Ciccone can even relay faster.
I think Vingegaard is just gonna keep on motoring.
Ciccone's not pulling. He said, I can't even pull quicker than you.
Kelmo's also coming behind, so Ciccone's probably like, but it doesn't matter, eh?
I think Ciccone's fucked. Vingegaard's pulling like a truck, man.
He is.
He's so aero. He's not Remco, but like the aero, you see, Ciccone's not a big guy. And you can see his whole head behind him.
He's so much more versatile than 2 years ago.
Poggi needs to wait.
But I know it's 10 seconds, but waiting I wouldn't do.
It's too late to wait
to catch up with the others.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Adam Yates needs to pull and catch up with Poggi.
Poggi needs to wait as a really, really big move.
Should Sepp pull for his own GC? Sepp actually should pull. GC Sepp. Can't Sepp top 5.
What's going to do for Pogacar?
Yeah, true. Ciccone is rolling. But then maybe the radio, I think the radio told him.
Yeah, to fuck off.
Well, I also think they know they're not going to catch Hindley. Yeah. And also they're kind of fucked. Like, look at Gol, man. No, Ciccone's getting flicked off the back. Pogacar's holding it pretty. He's losing like a second here or there. Thanks, Greg, for the 279. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Steve, for the 5. Sup, Toby, better stage 5. Today or last year's cobble stage? To me, this was better. Because, like, last year's cobble stage was kind of nerves. And then in the end, it wasn't like Poggi attacked and then dropped.
Yeah.
It was like mechanicals and stuff. And now, this is a great stage. Thanks, Doug, for the 10. Love the pod. Thanks, guys. I can't wait to get into this pod afterwards. This is going to be a good one to talk about.
I feel like it's incomparable, this stage, to
it's so different.
The cobble stage. It's such a different thing. And a cobble stage does feel quite heroic as what's happening. I think it was still a great stage, but I do feel like after the cobble stage, I was like, okay.
Oh, Hindley is hurting, man. This false flat uphill. He's hurting now. I know it's quite hard, this finish.
I prefer the cobble stage because I won't lie.
Ciccone should pull.
I feel like Jonas Vingegaard is like a 1.3 favorite for this Tour de France after this stage.
Yeah. Poggi is losing. Poggi's looking back. He's looking back. I think he might be waiting for them to come.
He's waiting for them to come back. Madouas is waiting for
Madouas has finally waited for Gaudu. I mean, to be fair, he shouldn't have waited before the top.
Yeah.
Because you saw Benoit.
Yeah.
You know, if you can get over the top, then you can be useful. Yeah. But Madouas should have waited on that plateau. Yeah. Then you can take so much time on that plateau.
Yeah.
But now there's a full play. Oh, thanks, Vesel and Kulev, for the 50. Wow. Really, really appreciate it. That's very, very generous of you. We'll be doing this for the Vuelta. Thanks for all your support. We'll be back for maybe we'll even do it now. We're not doing the full Vuelta.
This man wants me in Andorra for the entire Vuelta.
It's too hot then. Thanks, Andreas Schwemmer, for the 12. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. I mean, there's so many donos.
People are like...
Rodriguez is pulling.
Is that Martin is back in the Rodriguez group as well?
Martinez should have waited.
Yeah.
I mean, Haig was too far ahead, but Martinez should have waited. But he's out of contract and he's going to Bora, so is he going to chase Hindley? Yeah. He was chasing Hindley.
Thanks for the $10. Jesse Tremblay, legendary coverage here. Thank you both. And then Timothy Mondema, also $10. So thank you very much, guys. Appreciate the support.
Now it's real currency, not an Australian pesos. That stuff goes far. You can buy a house with that.
Kangaroo meat,
yeah. So Hindley has the stage. The gap is down to be honest, this is Jumbo-Visma can't complain with anything.
This is a better GC stage than any stage in the Giro.
Yeah, I think so. In terms of tactic or from action I haven't stopped watching this from the start, from the first kilometer. Thanks, Graham, again for the $2 por la Vuelta. You've done that in both. I don't know if that's a mix of French and Spanish. I hope it is. I like to mix the languages, mix and match myself.
No.
Thanks, Sat Sang Kalsa, for the 25. Very kind of you. Who do you all think? Do you guys think the tour is over? I mean, Vingegaard tried to crash himself out most of the time last year when he'd actually had a gap. Thanks, Shreyash Anand, for the 200 rupees. Actually, I was listening to Ashwin talk about the Bairstow Carey incident, but we might get to that on the Lanterne Rouge Cricket After Dark podcast. You English listeners, tune out now. Thanks, Greg Aman, for the 7. Benji to the ride the tour next year. Should we do L'Etape?
We should do L'Etape the tour, but I'm not sure I'll be able to next year. We should. Fuck it.
Man, Hindley is so strong. He's been in the break all day.
Yeah.
He's gone full from basically the start of the steep section of Marie Blanc, and he is holding Vingegaard at 40 seconds
as well.
Yeah, and Vingegaard, I think, is starting to blow a little bit now.
Yeah.
Should Ciccone relay? Nah. I don't think Ciccone or Gull should relay. Thanks, Mark, for the 10. I think Vingegaard will take less than a minute on Pogačar because the other group will speed up in the last 1,500 meters and they'll sprint for the line, and he's already fucked.
I think so. 38 seconds is the gap now towards the front. So, like we said, Jay Hindley is the winner of today's stage after a magnificent ride by the team, as in getting him in the breakaway.
This is a Gasparotto special.
This is a Gasparotto special.
Yeah, Gasparotto always tries to launch something unexpected. I honestly didn't expect it.
But I like Gasparotto's tactics. Torino in the Giro.
Yeah.
This shit. He's really pulling it off and
being fucking aggressive, man.
Yeah.
Like
daring to go.
What would have happened if Hindley stayed in the GC group today? He's with best case Poggy.
He's with Poggy, 100%.
Probably with
in
Poggy.
That group with Poggy, 100%.
So, but that's still not getting you much. You don't get the stage.
He might be ahead of that group, to be fair. The way he's climbing today.
Yeah, but then you get caught anyway, probably. So the point is, he takes way more time on GC. Maybe not as much as they hoped when it went to 4 minutes, but he gets the stage most importantly, and he takes a shitload of time on GC, and he didn't have to work that much harder than if he'd been in the peloton anyway. Yeah, he did have to close gaps, but he rode smart. He descended really, really well. So, yeah, just perfect from Bora Hansgrohe. And, you know, Jumbo-Visma would have probably wanted Benoit over the top, but it doesn't work out like that all the time perfectly, and they'll certainly be happy with dropping Pogačar, so they'll take this as a win for themselves as well. Thanks, Mark, for the 10. So much better than Vorters. Thanks, guys. Poor JV. Did I miss anybody? Thanks, Doug, again for the $2 for the Vuelta donation. Jai Hindley on top. Australian supremacy.
Have to bring it towards Australia, I get it.
Yeah, West Australia, huge stage win. Takes time on GC from the breakaway. Magnificent from Bora Hansgrohe. Thanks, Mish C, for the 10. Awesome stage. Thanks for the watch along. And now we do the count back. Vingegaard leading out the group. So they're going to outsprint him for the bonies too. So Bookman should roll Vingegaard in the sprint and then take the bonus seconds.
Yeah.
So Vingegaard won't take any bonies. Ciccone's already gone.
Ciccone going for it. Vingegaard.
He's not really.
Bookman's going to try and take the bonus seconds away. Yeah, Vingegaard gets
Vingegaard's getting no bonies, but he gets into the draft, so they finish a little bit ahead of him. It depends where they count it back. So they finished 33 seconds, or Vingegaard finished 33 seconds behind.
Bookman in top 5 NGC. What do you think he's
Really?
going to do?
$1 for every second of Van Aert's pool today from Vito Land. $5. Bookman, yeah, Bookman looks good. Like, he does look good, all jokes aside. Like, he looks... Pardon? I did miss.
Yeah.
Now we do the count back to Pogacar. So Vingegaard was 33 seconds. It's already out to 30 seconds. We've got, is Adam Yates pulling?
I'm curious to see, yes, Adam Yates is pulling instead of, but people came back, or is that's Haig from before, I think. So they called with Haig.
But yeah, thanks, Mitch. Thanks, man, from Montreal. Thanks, Andreas. Thanks, everybody. The gap is now, it's a minute, unless Skelmos has already started his sprint.
He has, but
He
still
seems very
minute,
far. Wow, they didn't gain that much time. The gap is over a minute from Group Vingegaard to
He's
Group
having trouble
Pogacar.
holding on.
No, well,
Nah, he does.
so the gap is 103, maybe 104 from Vingegaard to Pogacar.
Yeah. So the gap stayed exactly the same from the top.
Yeah.
And that's with Vingegaard pacing with barely any help.
Yeah.
And Pogacar pacing with, let's be honest, barely any help. I won't credit too much to, I mean, I think the gap would have been the same whether
Or
Adam Yates paced or not.
Madouas paced.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
Madouas paced.
yeah.
Maybe before, but now so Hindley goes into yellow by what? 40 seconds?
Nice.
47 seconds. Pogacar is on 140. Vingegaard's at 47. So, yeah, Pogacar's bonies erased. Big day for Bora, big day for him.
Yeah.
All right, we'll end the watch along here. We've got to prepare for the podcast. Make sure you join us for that recap. Thanks, Sam, again for the clock of raw. But O'Connor's, yeah, out of GC. So the real clock is
I'm afraid
kind of gone.
he's gone.
But goal was good. All right, thanks, everybody. We'll see you maybe for stage 9 or tomorrow. Till then, ciao.